were down 7, and I was like, this is not good.
Yeah.
You know, like the best player. And again, I was like probably everybody else holding out hope. Different things could happen, but that to me that was a clear indicator that this was going to be a rough game.
Yeah, like I said, I watching the game, you're kind of like, all right, just keep fighting, find the momentum. And once again, this was a game that, to me, watching it, and I can only speak for myself, it just all of it. You're right. I don't want to say you're right there. You're not right there. But going into halftime, you're only down 10. It's 36-26, and I'm kind of like, all right, you're one small run away from kind of cutting it to 5, 4, 3, you know, getting it within a basket. And then all of a sudden, it's like I blinked. I went, you know, like there was a TV timeout. I went to use the bathroom. I came back a little bit too late. It had started. The TV timeout had come to an end. And we had gone from like down 10 to like down 23. And I was like, what happened?
Yeah, Bill, if somebody tells you something is a mile away, a mile could be uphill. Right? It could be uphill through the woods. It could be uphill through mud and through puddles. So, yes, it was 10 points. But in a football term, it was a long 10 points.
It was, and it felt like it was a long 10
there's
points.
There's 4th and 1, and then there's a long 4th and 1, and that was a long 10 points. And that never quite felt that was going to be broken just because of what they do. So that was my moment early. There probably could have been several individual moments. Sarah Strong, top of the key, Joyce Edwards' hand in her face, drains a 3.
Yeah,
that's kind of like, all right, this is probably not going to happen for us today. You know, like there was a couple of moments that happened when you're like, this might be a little bit out of our grasp.
Yeah, because again, you get to the end. Look, you get to the end of the first quarter, and you mentioned it, and Paige Beckers makes the shot there.
Just at the
very end. I think it was right there at the very end, and they go up 5. But I'm thinking, okay, you were kind of hanging around. Again, my personal feeling was watching Connecticut on Friday night dominate. I was like, it just didn't. I think that was the first time, quietly to myself, I kind of whispered, I don't think the thing at Colonial Life Arena was a fluke. Connecticut looks good.
Another candidate could have been Malaysia Fulwiley getting ripped early by AZ Fudd. That might have been a signal where you're like, the old trickaroo's not working today.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be. And I do say this. This is I think you never want to lose. But if in a championship game like this, do you want it over where, as a fan, you know it early on? Or do we want to be sitting here today kind of talking about what if? What if we'd have just done this? What if we'd have just done that? There's no what ifs in that game yesterday.
Well, I mean, it's definitive.
It's definitive.
It's clear.
It's definitive in both games.
Yes.
There's no what ifs.
There's no what ifs. And to that point, it makes for a different conversation that you're having. So I definitely understand that. But then there's definitely the concept of, man, I go to the athlete side of it when you have to finish playing the game that you know you're going to lose.
Well, and I don't know if you were ever part of one of those. In the state championship in 1999, we played Lower Richland. And, I mean, again, Ed Scott just came out, and it was 9-0 Ed Scott over Lexington High School. And we never, I think, late, and again, we lost by 10. We lost 59-49.
It was never that close.
Late, yeah. Like you look back on that, and you're like, it wasn't. That was 10 really could have been 20. Mm-hmm. And so I was a part of a game like that in a big game kind of atmosphere. You're right. It's disheartening.
It is.
When you know that there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, and you're looking at them, and all their shots magically are falling, and all your shots magically are missing, and that's a very difficult spot for them to be in and try and win those games. But yeah, there was any moments where you knew that it was going to be a rough night. Sentiment. 803-404-6100.
Todd weighs in. Remember Friday you both decided you wanted UConn instead of UCLA? Sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for. I don't think it mattered.
Thanks for listening, Todd.
Appreciate it. 803-404-6100. We'll see what Jamie Bradford's got to say about baseball up next.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
You know, they say perfection is a journey. Well, our journey in updating some bathrooms in our house led us to Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin. We did some renovations and we had some cabinets replaced. So, of course, we needed countertops and we were recommended to go to Carolina Stone Craftsman. And I'm telling you, we were very impressed from the very beginning. Toured their showroom, which is absolutely amazing. They have an outdoor showroom that I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about and all of the hardscaping stuff that they do. But everything that we looked at, everything that we had questions about, they answered all of those questions for us. So every part of the process was fantastic. Installation was complete. Cleaned everything up like they were never there. Beautiful work they do. And if you're in the market for countertops for your kitchen or bath, I encourage you to reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman and, of course, tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They are family-owned and operated. Carolina Stone Craftsman just beyond Columbia in Chapin. And I assure you, beyond your expectations. Visit them online at carolinastonecraftsman.com.
Sponsored by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. They run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Langston Moore here. You know, a former Hall of Fame coach used to say all the time, it doesn't matter if someone graduates from medical school with all A's or all D's, they still get called doctor. Don't just trust anybody with your roof just because they have the title roofer. Trust us, the Roofing All-Americans. They've been in business for over 25 years in the roofing and construction biz. They know what it takes to score you that beautiful brand new roof. With their transparent pricing, prompt service, attention to detail, Roofing All-Americans, they're the best in the business. The same things that made these guys the best in the business when it came on the gridiron, it makes them the same things that make them the best in the business when it comes to your replacing and repairing your roof. So Roofing All-Americans is your go-to when you need that beautiful brand new roof. So give us a call today at 803-250-1395. That's 803-250-1395 or Roofing All-Americans, or check us out on the web at roofingallamericans.com. That's roofingallamericans.com.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample Rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
For the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, WNKT Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station. The early game with Bill Gunter.
All right, well, that wasn't very fun.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Rivalry week. It's a tough one to say.
Rivalry week.
Rivalry week. And you have to really, really get that one out.
And Jen Jensen.
It wasn't until yesterday I was on the app formerly known as Twitter, and I saw the picture of the three of y'all come up, and I'm like, Bill Gunter. Huh. I had to call in this morning to verify. Did you ever take an upper-level history class at USC?
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there. There is no way on earth Bill Gunter took any upper-level class. I'm just saying that.
On the Game Network.
Here comes the stupidity.
You wanted us? Here we are.
And on 107.5, the Game app. Now on the early game, time to hang with Jamie Bradford, host of the Gamecock Show.
Knocks it down.
On the Game Network and on the 107.5, the Game app.
7 a.m. on a Monday morning, April the 7th. Hope you're doing well as we get you up and get you going here live from the studios where we'll be here today and tomorrow, and then off Wednesday we will be over at Pro Swing getting you ready for the Masters. Pro Swing on Forest Acres, so we will be there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. hanging out. It is Masters week, and that is the positive this morning. Preston Thorne, what started as such a great Friday night? Basketball wins, baseball wins, softball wins, Braves win. Everybody was winning. We were on a gravy train with biscuit wheels, and then it fell off.
Narrator inputs. Everybody, in fact, did not win for the rest of the weekend.
To break it all down, to hope to keep us positive, joining us now, Jamie Bradford, who joins us each and every Monday. Jamie, if we could just go back to those warm fuzzies on Friday night when it felt so good outside and the beverages tasted so good, so sweet, and then we got to Sunday.
Yeah, it didn't finish the way that anybody really wanted it to, outside of Ashley Chastain and the softball team winning another nationally ranked series. But you know, the women were in a national championship yesterday, Bill. I mean, they played for a national championship. It didn't end well, but they played for a national championship, and I think that still says a whole heck of a lot about what this program's all about.
Yeah, no, it's unfair. It's wildly unfair, but this is what incredibly great programs. There are a few programs in the history of college sports. UCLA basketball in the 60s and 70s. I think Alabama football recently with Nick Saban. Maybe you could point to a Duke team here or there, but there are few that can say they got to a championship and lost, and it's a disappointing season. And that is sad to say, but it's also a testament to the program that has been built by both the coach and the players. And that to me is what's true. It's a disappointment. Season's a disappointment. And it's not a disappointment in a bad way. It's just when you're that successful, when you have as much success as South Carolina has had, that's just how it kind of shapes up. So you're right. I agree with you. Look at what they did, but also it's kind of like, man, all right, well, back to the drawing board. And also the fact that Connecticut looks to be back as well. Connecticut appears to have reclaimed who they were early on before South Carolina made their run.
Yeah, they're outstanding. I mean, clearly we saw them earlier this season, and they did the same thing to the Gamecocks on their home floor that they did in Tampa. And we all knew then, right? I mean, everybody saw it, and they knew what it looked like, and they said, well, if Carolina can get there, there's a good chance, unless the draw, you know, as far as the bracket goes, happens to put them on the same side. These two teams could see each other again, and we were all right about that. There's no question about it. I mean, you look around the country and you do see programs that rise, but how many of them get there and stay there? I mean, you think about over the years in the SEC, you know, the A&Ms and the Mississippi States, and now the LSUs that have kind of gotten there. They've won a national championship, but how many more have they won? And how many titles have they played for? And how many consecutive SEC championships do they have? And now, you know, maybe Texas has kind of arrived on the scene. At least they thought they did when they took down South Carolina and Austin, and then the Gamecocks saw them twice after that, and they punished them for it. You know, you look out over on the West Coast and UCLA and Southern Cal, and, you know, Notre Dame is still out there. I mean, there's a lot of great programs, but there's nothing like South Carolina and UConn. And UConn is, you know, it took the torch, if you will, from Tennessee, and then South Carolina took the torch from UConn. And I don't know. I mean, it's way too early to tell, but, you know, maybe we're in a two-headed race moving forward with these two programs that are going to consistently be, you know, playing for this thing every single year.
Preston, I don't think that's true. I think, and this is a testament to Gino Auriemma, it's a testament to Dawn Staley, it's a testament to Asia Wilson, to Aaliyah Boston, to so many different women. The women's game is in a place now where it's more competitive. I don't think it's just these two teams. Southern Cal will get Juju Watkins back. UCLA, somebody else, Caitlin Clark and what she's done. I think the women's game, and South Cal needs to stay at the forefront of it. Otherwise, obviously, we're going to discuss it less. But I think the women's game is in a very good place where you're not seeing. I think what you were referencing is what we saw kind of in the 90s, I think, the early 2000s. Well, it was Connecticut and Tennessee, and then occasionally there was a third, but it was those two teams. I think you got a handful of teams now that are legit contenders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We agree. But, there's 14 different women's programs in the last 6 years that have gone to the Final Four. That's a testament to the growth of the sport. Okay, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is we thought that maybe Carolina was going to be in the middle of a dynasty and everybody, including UConn, were going to be chasing them. And what I'm saying, is basically what you said a second ago, and the fact that UConn seems to maybe kind of reestablish themselves. Like, it's not like they're like losing 5 seniors and then they're just going to start from scratch. No, they're going to lose Paige Beckers, but look at Sarah Strong, and they got a bunch of young players on that team, just like the Gamecocks do. I'm just saying,
even though 2016 was a long time ago, it's pretty amazing that they held on for this long. Because I count me, Jamie, as one of those people who was like, they're done. We got them. We are in the catbird seat right here, and props to UConn for not folding.
803-404-6100. We'll get to some baseball coming up later on, but let's switch over to the men's side of things. Jamie, Duke, they had it, and then they didn't have it. And now we get Florida-Houston tonight.
That was unbelievable. Can y'all really still believe that happened the other night? I was watching this thing going, there's no way, right? There's no way this is going to be one of those, they survived type deals. And they did not survive. That was just wild. I got to give credit to my man, John Strickland, who called it months ago. He said, I'm telling you, Houston's better than everybody thinks they are. Nobody wants to give him credit on our side of the table. We're over here in the Southeastern Conference, and we're not paying attention to anything but the SEC and Duke because they're just north. But that was really phenomenal. I think we're in store for an outstanding national championship game tonight. I really do. I think we're in store for an outstanding national championship. Let me ask you a question. Can y'all name the starting 5 of either team?
No, but I think unless you're a fan of either team, that's college basketball now.
I know Hersey Miller is on the bench for Houston. That's that's Percy Miller's son, Master P, by the way.
Really?
I do know that.
Hersey,
yeah, Hersey.
That's
not a lot of creativity there in coming up with that name,
or a lot of creativity. I don't know which way you're going to go with it, but yeah, I don't know if that counts.
Well, not really, because it's only one. He's not even starting. But hat tip to Master P's kid. I think that's what it's just unique. Do you remember the days like when Coach K was making his run, or North Carolina, or whatever, even like when Florida won theirs in 06 and 08 under Billy Donovan. You can go back and you can name everybody in the starting lineup. Like you can, at least you might not be able to now. We're all getting a little old. But back then, you knew every player that was going to play in the game, every player. And now, like Walter Clayton scores 30 points a game, so he's easy to mention. But there's a lot of guys where it's like, I don't know. I've actually watched this team all year, and I don't even know who the starters are. I think it's really a pretty incredible thing when you think about a national championship and these two teams competing for it.
I'd like to go back, I guess maybe this afternoon, just to bring this up tomorrow. I'd like to go back maybe and see how many transfers both teams have, because that's another part of it. Like, I don't.
Well, I can tell you, Florida has they have one kid, I think, in the starting lineup that committed to Florida. The rest of them are all transfers.
Condon was I think the one guy, right?
The
Alex
one guy,
Condon, yeah.
Yep. And then Houston, I think, has one, maybe 2. There was a graphic on Twitter about it 2 weeks ago, and we pulled that off and started wrestling. There was only one team in the Sweet 16 that had all 5 starters who had committed to their program as recruits, and it was Purdue.
Figures.
Jamie, if you meet somebody named Walter, how old are they?
Yeah, generally much older than I am, but not this Walter, and he can play too. So I want to be careful with that. I went to school with a Walter in high school, but that was the last Walter I think that I knew.
That was your age?
Yeah, seriously. I'm not saying that to be it's like, do you have any? This is radio, but it's still a name. Like, do y'all call any of your friends Dick?
No.
Yeah. Hey, Preston, what's up? Hey, man, this is my friend Dick. Dick Jones, or no? They're just Bob. You got any Bobs? You know what I mean? Like, there's just not a lot that are around in this generation.
Jamie, I'm with you.
So
probably should hit a break. Probably should.
It's still a name, Bill.
Probably should go to
still
a name. Now. All right. Well, we'll talk baseball. We'll talk baseball when we come back.
Do we really have to do that?
Well, we'll also get a prediction for you on basketball, and also the one other thing. Isn't Walter? Wasn't that the name of the guy who does the ventriloquism? Is it ventriloquist?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Walter?
How many ventriloquists you see walking around these days, man? Ventriloquism is a lost art. You don't see many of those anymore. So, yeah. Sounds about right.
The Blue Dogs, y'all know Preston, you know the Blue Dogs from Charleston. They got a great song named Walter.
Okay.
So shout out to the Blue Dogs.
Walter White from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
That was about
Walt Whitman. Rolling along on a Monday morning, 7:12. Boy, did that escalate quickly. All right, we'll get into some baseball discussion and make Jamie talk about that when we come back, see what he's got to say. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain David Dare. It's Monday morning. We're joined by Jamie Bradford. It is the early game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. 5.
Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years they have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that proven history, 30 years, that is your assurance that they will get the job done in a pleasing manner to you and your operation. We've got some heavy storms coming in here this morning. If you find a leak, if you've got a leak, it's time to let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. So give them a phone call, because 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they are there to help you out. 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can give Mid-State Roofing a phone call, and you'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. You heard that right. A Mid-State Roofing employee or an on-call technician ready to help you with a maintenance contract. So give them a phone call today, 803-356-1919. Give Mid-State Roofing a call. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
Well, we've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253. Or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. Ah, so quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And your quiet night on the patio, that's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Are you someone who tries to drive while distracted by your phone? Someone who props it on the steering wheel or peeks down at it for a glance? Or just scrolls and scrolls? If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
People with arthritic hips are traveling from all around the world for hip resurfacing in Colombia. Here's Dr. Thomas P. Gross to explain why.
Many young active patients don't have to settle for a hip replacement. Hip resurfacing restores more natural hip function. It even allows you to get back to contact sports. We've done more hip resurfacings than any other practice in the country with great success.
For more information on hip resurfacing, visit midorthoneuro.com. Midlands Orthopedics and Neurosurgery.
The Cocky Trot 5K and Fun Run and Walk, presented by Palmetto Shirt Company, is back. Join Gamecock fans on Saturday, April 26th for the fun-filled morning racing around Gamecock Park and Williams-Brice Stadium. Learn more and register today at GamecocksOnline.com/CockyTrot.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
$7:19 on your Monday morning. They have just put out an update, by the way, from Augusta National. If you're heading down this morning, I know some of you may be, there is a update 4 minutes in via Twitter. It says, given the current forecast, we will open ticket gates at 8 a.m. and patron parking lots are now open. This is straight from the Masters. We will continue to monitor the approaching weather. The grounds will remain open this morning as weather permits. So if you're thinking about heading down to Augusta and checking out the practice round today, the grounds are open. The ticket gates will open at 8 a.m. and patron parking lots are now opening. So we are off and running down in Augusta. And Preston and Jamie, I do look forward to this week, and we'll discuss that maybe coming up in the next segment. Get your thoughts on that, because Masters around here, another great event that we have each and every week. And a reminder, we will be over at Pro Swing starting on Wednesday for Masters Week. You can come by and see us in the morning, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And also there will be some tickets given away, and you need to continue to listen throughout the day for more information on how you could have a chance to go down to Sunday's final round down in Augusta. 803-404-6100. All right, well, basketball didn't go well. Baseball, though, Jamie, we labeled it after we had you on last week the biggest series of the year. If they had won the series, I think I could have justified saying, hey, you're not a top 10 team. You've lost to Tennessee and Arkansas, Clemson and Oklahoma. I can forgive you for that. We knew maybe top 10 was a bit much this year. So I thought this was a series they absolutely had to have, even though it was in Starkville.
Yeah. Well, you're not wrong on that. I mean, it certainly felt like it would go a long way to win it. That's for sure. And they obviously clearly didn't get that done. And now they sit at 2-10 in the league. I mean, the reality of it is, if you want to look at it from the positive side of things, with 18 games to go, if you go 11-7 in those 18 games, you're going to be in the postseason. But it's certainly hard to wrap your head around how in the heck they're going to be able to do that with some of the inconsistencies that they've been playing with. It's pretty frustrating for fans to watch, and I can tell you that it's even more frustrating for the coaching staff.
So the question becomes, where do they go? I think Preston and I are Preston offered up saying, well, the Texas A&M series becomes the biggest of the year. I don't know. You mentioned it at 2-10, and right now they can't get hits when they need hits. They can't seem to get the big out when they get the big out. I mean, where does this team go from here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, A&M has struggled, and then, naturally, they decide to go to number 1 Tennessee this weekend and play a doubleheader on Saturday and outscore them 26-9 and win the series just ahead of the Gamecocks coming to town. So that figures. Let's get going at the right time, which is, what good teams do. A&M has struggled so much. I do think, and I don't want this to come across at all as like second guessing or anything. I mean, I'm not at practice every day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's going on. There's always injuries and stuff you don't know about. So it's hard to sit there in the public and bang your fist on the table and tell everybody what they need to do. So I'm not trying to come across like that, but I do think you're kind of at the point, like, they've tried a lot of different lineup combinations, and they've moved the weekend staff around due to injury or performance. It might be best at this point in time just to kind of settle into what you feel like where you feel like you are the most comfortable as far as what your lineup is and what your who your Friday and Saturday guy are, and just go with that. Sometimes it's hard as players to come to the ballpark and be in the 5-hole and then be in the 2-hole, or be in hit eights and then be moved up to second. It's easier to come to the ballpark and know pretty much where your name's going to be in the lineup card. And that doesn't mean you're going to play every day either. I mean, some guys play because there's a lefty on the mound. Some guys play because there's a righty on the mound. But at least you know what to expect and where to expect it. And, I don't know if that would solve any problems. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying it won't. I don't know. But I do know how players think sometimes. And if they can at least show up to the ballpark comfortable, maybe that'll kind of settle them into what their role would be on the team and provide some sparks.
Preston, anything that resonates there with what he's saying?
Yeah, I guess my question is, I'm looking at this, they've found various ways to lose, whether that's giving up a lot of runs or not scoring a lot of runs or making errors out in the field. In your opinion, Jamie, what is the path for this team towards victory? Are they a team that can win low-scoring games, or are they a team that needs to win a track meet? What do they need to be doing to make them most effectively, give them the most chances to win?
I mean, they got to score some runs, man. I mean, you just don't have enough juice in this staff. I don't think when we've seen a bunch of the league already. I mean, I've seen everybody in the leagues. I watch them all, but I'm not so sure that, and I don't know the reason either. I thought this staff was going to be a little bit better than they are, than they have been collectively. So, if you know that you're going to give up some runs, you're going to have to score some runs. And in the SEC, I mean, the trend has been for a few years now, like, you've got to swing the bat. You just have to score. I mean, I was talking to Justin Smoke about this the other day. He's like, dude, it's the SEC. You got to score runs or you lose. It was the same thing when we played. You have to score runs or you lose. And they just don't score enough runs. And you can't ask your pitching staff to go out and hold SEC programs to 3 and 4 runs a game. I mean, you got to find a way to – I think 6 is the number. I've been kind of saying that for a while. Then you can start to make some changes, when you're playing in a game. I mean, if you're averaging 6 runs, I'm not saying you're going to score 6 every game, but if you're averaging 6 or 7 runs a game, you're going to win your fair share of games. You're going to be in the postseason and have a chance to be successful. So, I think they got to score some runs, and that's kind of what, going back to my point, offensively, Preston, is there are some young guys on this team. Obviously, we've seen Bo Hollins just really climb out of his shell. I know he had some tough moments this weekend, but that's going to happen when you're a freshman. Overall, he's been swinging the bat incredibly well. And KJ Scobie has had his moments, right? And you've had to play Gavin Braylon. I mean, you're having to play a bunch of young guys. So what makes it easier on young guys, the game is so hard. At least make sure that they understand what to expect when they show up to the ballpark. Where are we going to be in the lineup, and what my job is that day in there, and that'll help maybe calm the nerves sometimes, and then you go from there. So, I mean, I think the lineup has a chance to get better and better because there are young guys in it. So we'll see, but yeah, the lack of production offensively, especially as Bill pointed out a minute ago, and it's been pointed out numerous times this year, in crucial moments. Hey, look, they got a 3-run lead. We got 2 on. We got 1 out. We need a big hit here, and they just don't get enough of those.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in on that. We'll wrap up some thoughts on baseball and transition back to the Final Four a little bit with tonight's game between Florida and Houston. Somebody has sent in a stat from that has been tweeted out. I will read you. This is from The Athletic, and the record that comes along with it when we come back and get y'all's take on that. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain David Aaron. Again, Monday morning, we're joined by Jamie Bradford. It is the early game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Pro Swing wants to send you to the Masters. Pro Swing is giving away 2 tickets to Sunday at the Masters, including access to the Map and Flag Hospitality Building. Enjoy an open bar, premier entrees, and a dedicated Masters Gear Pro Shop. No waiting in the normal on-course lines to get your swag. Here's how to enter. Just play a minimum of 2 hours at full price anytime from now until Friday, April 11th, 2025. Each 2-hour block played is an entry to win. Enroll in our loyalty program to receive exclusive perks and your entry into the giveaway. Add the March to the Masters tournament to your Bay booking and get an additional entry. It's the perfect way to increase your chances and enjoy even more golf fun leading up to the tournament. Purchase a 2-hour gift card. Each one counts as another entry to win. The winner will be announced on Friday evening, April 11th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. live on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. All the demolition we had to do in our kitchen, we had new cabinets that had to be installed, and I'm telling you, CHW Cabinetry was so helpful. Once we picked everything out, got the design figured out, we got those photorealistic renderings that were really helpful because it was a picture of our finished kitchen, which, like I said before, makes a big difference when you're trying to pick out everything else to get your kitchen put together. Kitchens, though, that's not all they do. We redid an upstairs bathroom and got cabinetry for that. And then we just redid our master bath where we also got cabinetry from CHW. And again, great experience, super thrilled. They can also help you update your pantry, maybe update some of the hanging racks in your closet. Maybe you want that a little more functional. If you're looking to make a little home office space, they can help you with that as well. Just visit chwcabinetry.com to learn more. Call them today at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Sponsored by Metz Plumbing.
If you got a problem, it just won't quit. Just won't quit. And you need a plumber to make the trip. Metz Plumbing, MetzPlumbing.com.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Hey pool owners, now is the time to get your pool ready for summer fun. And at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, we make it easy. We have everything for salt and chlorine pools, including chemicals, equipment, and accessories. But our best item is our knowledgeable staff. They're trained and ready to answer your questions so you can do it right. Get your pool ready and keep it sparkling clear and safe all season long with Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio. 3303 Forest Drive at jackoliverpools.com.
You want to remodel. Actually, you need to remodel. I'm Eddie Springer of Treycal Builders, and with us, remodeling is easy. Whether it's your kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, or even the whole house that needs an upgrade, at Treycal, we'll help you every step of the way. We do first-class work quickly, cleanly, and affordably. Call 360-8211, 360-8211, or visit trecalbuilders.com. Trecal Builders, quality from start to finish.
BOGO is back at iMart Express.
Come on. Okay.
Right now, for a limited time only, new customers can buy their first pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Plus, with eye exams available and same-day glasses, you'll never miss a moment. It's the kind of savings and service you can really get used to.
Okay.
Find a location near you at imartexpress.com to shop our BOGO event today and see everything we have in store for you. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
Thanks again. Really appreciate you guys.
Where have you been, Roger?
Man, they really are the best hookers in town.
What?
No wonder why they have so many 5-star reviews.
The best hookers in town? You got a ride home from the best hookers in town?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't have done it any other way.
What?
I gave them a call, they showed up super quick, and then they brought me and my car home. I mean, talk about service.
You just let me get a look at these so-called hookers. Oh, it's Schroeder's Towing. Oh, they really are the best.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
It's part sports.
We have football on the brain.
Part pop culture.
Dennis Leary. True or false? You refuse to wear a glove with Mickey Mantle's signature on it for the movie The Sandlot.
The Red Sox blood, the Brewers blood, they run deep.
And in the best celebrity interviews.
Robert De Niro here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, sir?
Just got over a 24-hour virus.
The antidote is to appear on The Rich Eisen Show.
There you go. I would have just done it earlier.
And you've got The Rich Eisen Show podcast.
There is a medicinal quality to appearing on this program.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
All right, left 2 lanes are now blocked out there where it must have been a bad wreck. 26 inbound just past the Chapin exit. Big problem there. Only 1 lane open. It is moving, but it's going to slow you down. Expect a delay there. Shop at Pineview, a wreck there. And also 1 White Pond at I-20. Weather outlook today, we expect rain and thunderstorms throughout the day. 100% chance of it. 75 for your high. 48 for an overnight low. Cooler tomorrow, 67 for a high, 40 for a low. Sunny skies, though. Wednesday, pretty much the same. Thursday, mostly sunny, 76 for a high, 54 for a low. And then Friday morning showers moving in. Could move in fact, late Thursday night. And we'll see 71 for a high on Friday and 47 for low.
You're talking about, sponsored by Love Chevrolet on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
.34 as we roll along on a Monday morning. New week, new day, fresh start, Masters week, end of the women's basketball season, and tonight we wrap up the men's season. And I don't know. I ask you two again. Are we happy Duke is not there? Let me give you a statistic. This is from The Athletic. Since steals became an official stat in 1986, NCAA tournament teams are 335-1 in games that they beat their opponent in field goal percentage, free throw attempts, assists, fewer turnovers, and steals. The lone loss. Yeah, that's right. The Duke Blue Devils on Saturday night. Are we, Jamie, or you or like, I don't know where you're, I feel like everybody has an opinion of Duke. They're a great program. They're one of the all-time great athletic programs in college sports, and that right there brings emotion and either a level of admiration and love or disdain and hate.
Yeah, but Duke's good for TV. I think we all know that, don't we? They first of all, hat tip to whoever found that stat. And how did that stat even become something? Hey, man, I need you to take these, what was it, 5 or 6 categories?
Yeah.
I need you to run out and check this out for me.
Yeah. Some poor intern for The Athletic was up until like 4 a.m. because his boss is like, you got to come up with the most absurd stat you can come up with.
That's what I'm saying. Like, somebody's career just got squashed. You know what I mean? Like, they thought they were going to be in sports the rest of their lives, and no, they're out. Yeah, look, Duke is good for TV, and they're really good for TV when they have maybe the best player in the country like they do in Cooper Flagg. I didn't really care if they were in there or not, other than my bracket had them in there. I had Duke and Florida in the national championship. But after watching Houston play in the tournament, and quite frankly, I think that one of the – you know how you always kind of have a story to wrap your arms around, at least television does, and this go-around is Kelvin Sampson. I mean, you think about his career and some of the things that he's gone through, good and bad, obviously. Here we are in 2025, and he's got a chance to win a national championship with Houston. But I'll say this, and Bill, you're such a basketball guy. I mean, Preston, you're a basketball guy. One of the best post-game interviews in college basketball is always Kelvin Sampson. He's very point blank, very matter of fact, and I've always enjoyed listening to him actually speak about the game and what happens in it and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be I think there will be a lot of people tonight polling for Houston because, A, they don't want to see the SEC win, and B, because of Kelvin Sampson.
You with that? You with that there, Preston?
Yeah, that sounds fine. I mean, it is a very interesting story. There's a lot of ups and downs and journeys. When we say ups and downs, we mean a show cause penalty, which he had violations from the NCAA. So, I mean, there wasn't trivial things, but he's fought his way back. And I guess what to me is really interesting is that Houston wants to be good so bad.
Yeah.
Like as a they want to be good at football. They are trying, and this is kudos to the administration for keeping their foot on the gas and accomplishing their goals. They want to be really good as a university. And I think maybe Houston provides a blueprint for maybe what Charlotte's trying to do or something along, like it's the same type of school, but they have been successful at it.
He did get a shout-out into the Big 12, Kelvin Sampson did, kind of what you were saying about wanting to be good and them doing what they want. That's a good point on that. So who are we taking here tonight? Let me go back to this. All right, I asked Jamie. I asked Preston this last Friday before we got to the Final Four with Florida and Auburn playing there in the game on Saturday night. And did the SEC live up to the 14 teams in the NCAA tournament? Did the SEC prove we are big and bad, and we this year were the dominant conference? Did all that talk and the 14 teams, did all that get justified, and has the SEC done what they had to do to prove in this tournament that they were the conference that we all thought they were?
Well, I mean, if you're asking me, the answer is yes. Okay, yeah. But if you're asking the rest of the country, the answer is TBD. It depends on whether they win tonight.
Okay. All right.
I hate to say that, but it just is what it is. I mean, you know what the narrative is going to be if Houston wins the game. I mean, it's going to be crystal clear, regardless of the fact that half the Final Four is from this league and 5 of the Elite 8 teams or 6 or 7 Sweet 16 teams. None of that's going to be brought up. All it's going to be brought up is they had 14 teams in, and they couldn't win a national championship. That's it.
Okay. Preston, you agree with that? Is that the narrative?
I think that's a great observation because I agree with Jamie. I think they've proven themselves. The teams made it through. They battled against each other, provided great entertainment. But for the haters, if they don't win, it'll be an easy target for them.
All right. So tonight, Florida and Houston. Richard weighed in earlier and said, basically, he says, I think there's a very good chance we could get a buzzer beater tonight. We'll be watching every second. Jamie, are you locked in? Do you think it's a buzzer beater? And who do you think ends up winning this game?
Well, I picked Florida to win the national championship. And I do think it's going to be an elite basketball game. I really do. So I'm going to stay with the Gators, but I'm not doing that very comfortably at all or confidently. I think it's going to be that close of a game. I mean, Florida's a 1.5-point favorite. So, I mean, how much closer can it get? But I'll stay with the Gators.
Preston?
Yeah, I have zero factual analysis of this, but what I will say is for the folks that were saying, the games haven't been great or things like that, Houston's provided two of the best finishes in probably tournament history. I think that game against Duke, I'm not sure when it could have came that people would have paid more attention to it, but that was absolutely amazing the way that went down. And so if we're going with the Cinderella story or a team like Jamie said to wrap your arms around with, give me Houston.
Okay. All right. So
well, and I'll say this real quick too. If you look in the tournament, both of these teams have had incredibly stressful ball games that they have navigated through to get here. So I don't think I don't know that Florida or Houston, they're battle tested, when you hear stuff like that. They're both through that. Neither one of these teams is going to, be punched in the face and just lay down on the mat and not get back up. I mean, I think it's going to be that type of ball game.
Okay. All right. I kind of am leaning Florida. I think I'm kind of going there with Jamie. Just Florida seems to I think we hold it against Florida that they needed a last-second lay-in to beat us here. I think that's part of my problem. I saw them in person, and they were not impressive. They should not have won that game. So, anyway, well, we will wrap things up, get Jamie's final thoughts on the Final Four, Jamie's thoughts on baseball, and plenty more here as we come to a conclusion of hour number 2. You're listening to The Early Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the Sports Minute, sponsored by Wrangler. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles to kickstart your day. Wrangler for the ride of life. No matter how hard yours truly and others tried to thwart Alex Ovechkin over the years by putting his Capitals number 8 sweater into the freezer during the playoffs, the 39-year-old Russian broke Wayne Gretzky's record yesterday with career goal number 895. I'm Boomer Esiason.
The best mornings in the morning light start with Wrangler. I put on my jeans and I feel all right. Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Harbor Freight knows time is money, so for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 2,300 PSI electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point, so you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $29.99. In-store only. Limits apply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Bill Gunner for Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Now, you're probably like me. You got issues with the pollen, not just outside, but now it's kind of being tracked into your home. It's on the bottom of the kids' shoes, bottom of your shoes. Now it's all through the house. Dogs and cats are bringing it in, and you got to get those carpets, the rugs, the tile, the upholstery. You got to get them clean. Well, there's no better company than Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. For pure safety and total clean, you need to call Zero Res today and book your appointment. 803-262-4020. Or you can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to take advantage of their spring sale. You can get 3 rooms cleaned for the price of 2. That's right. Right now, call 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms cleaned, but you will only pay for the price of 2. Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Alan Kennington, responsible for this ad. Office in 1440 Broad River Road, Columbia, South Carolina.
It's called an accident for a reason. It wasn't planned, but it happened. It's not your fault, but somehow you're the one paying. Medical bills, lost wages, and the pain. You need someone on your side to fight for you. With over 85,000 cases resolved and 12 offices across the state, you need South Carolina's largest injury law firm. On your side, you need George Sink now.
Get George Sink Law Firm on the line. Call 999-9999.
Early Game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
Wrapping up hour number 2 on your Monday morning. Masters Week. Jamie, how big of is this a week that you kind of get into more so than normal? Are you a Masters guy?
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. I am so fired up today. I know the weather's going to suck today, but if you haven't paid attention to the weather, this might be the most beautiful week of weather they've had in Augusta National in decades. After you get through Monday, it's going to be spectacular.
Preston, you ever, you've had to, doing the show with me, I've gotten you, I think, a little more involved, but I think it was still something that was on your periphery, but maybe not you always paid attention to, or is this something that you've really kind of grown up keeping an eye on when this week comes?
No, it's definitely something I've heard people discuss and talk about, but as I've gotten older and more of my peer group have gotten into golf as they age into golf, I've definitely heard people having more conversations about it for sure.
So, Jamie, who do you like this week, and how do you see? You just mentioned the weather. I agree. It's supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be kind of, I say cool. That's relative to what you think cool is, mid-60s, I think. But it's supposed to be really nice. How do you see the course playing, and who do you like to take home the green jacket?
Well, I'm excited to see the course because of the weather, obviously, that came through in the fall and what all they've been able to do to it. So I'll be curious to see how much television is able to point that out. Because I haven't found a way to rig the lottery yet so I can go. One of the things that I always just really enjoy about the Masters is the fact that generally players who have won this tournament, you can never count them out. Now, I'm not saying that they won't have a bad tournament or won't play well. that obviously has happened numerous times over the years. But also when you've won this tournament, if I've learned anything about the Masters, you learn your way around the course. And why was Tiger so good for so long? Why did he win it in 2019? He was smarter than everybody else. And so when you see that, it's hard to look at guys like Scotty Scheffler and, like some of the names in the sport. Like I think we get caught up sometimes with like trying to, this guy, keep an eye on this guy this week. I say the same thing every year with the Masters. Keep an eye on the superstars. The guys who've played this tournament well generally have a chance to win it. I think Scheffler's like 4-1 odds to win it, and I like him. There's no doubt about that. But I like how guys like Rory have played this year. Rory's having a good year, man. And I would love to see Rory go there and win this thing. But I think it's going to be one of the bigger names in golf that takes it come late Sunday after Sunday evening.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Rory. He is going for the career Grand Slam. Just another opportunity. He's finished second, but can't seem to get over the hump here. What does he have to do? Is he mentally ready to win this tournament? Because I think that's the biggest thing for Rory is not the actual game, but the mental side of things.
Oh, you're exactly right about that. It's nothing with his game. If Rory, anybody that's watched golf and watched Rory McIlroy play, I don't care if it was now or 10 years, if he plays anywhere near his A game, he is really difficult to beat. Might not be beatable, honestly. But that's the whole thing. I think it just comes down to those one or two moments. He's got one or two moments in some of these tournaments, in particular here at Augusta, where not necessarily will it fall apart. I'm not saying that. It's will he have that special moment? You know what I mean? Like that unforgettable putt or that big chip or whatever it may be. So I think that's what it comes down to with him. I mean, if he doesn't play well, I think it'd be pretty shocking to the large majority of people who follow his career. But I think he will play well this week. I think he'll be on the leaderboard somewhere up there on Sunday with a chance.
And I do need to ask you, Preston and I discussed this a few weeks ago when the menu came out. One of the most exclusive and I think coolest things in all of sports, because they don't allow the cameras in there. You only see a picture of it, and it's so exclusive. You can't buy your way in. There's nothing you can do. The Champions Dinner. You have seen the menu for Scotty Scheffler's Champions Dinner?
Absolutely. I've tweeted about that not long ago. That's my type of guy there, man. Yeah. I love it.
Tomorrow night, cheeseburger sliders, firecracker shrimp. Those are the appetizers, along with Papa Chef's meatball and ravioli bites. The first course is Texas-style chili with cheddar cheese and jalapenos and corn chips. The main course, wood-fired cowboy ribeye or blackened redfish. Also, they'll have family-style macaroni and cheese, jalapeno cream corn, soy-glazed Brussels sprouts, and chipotle lime roasted sweet potatoes. And the dessert, a warm chocolate chip skillet cookie with vanilla bean ice cream.
Yep. And the only thing that I didn't like, but the only thing that would throw me off is one two-letter word, or. I'm not choosing the ribeye or the blackfish. Or the black and redfish. I'll just give me both.
Give both. 2 plates. Totally.
Just throw the redfish on top of the ribeye.
It sounds this thing. The more as I've gotten older, the more I understand about this dinner. Like I don't care how much. Like nobody can buy their way in. And you can't just like show up and be like, hey, I'm a member here. I get to go. Like you have to win a tournament that is one of the most difficult tournaments in the world, and it's such an exclusive club. I just can't imagine. Like that you always see they have somebody. The Golf Channel will have their cameras and they'll have people filming the guys going in to hang up, but there's no cameras allowed inside. You get that one picture of all of them together, and a matter of fact, most of them don't even come out and discuss what happened on the inside.
They need to have a scale going in and then a scale coming out. So we don't need to see the dinner. We just need to know what you weigh in before and then what you're weighing after. That's all we need to know how good the meal was.
Yeah.
It sounds delicious. Jamie, before we let you out here, final thoughts on baseball. Now you get USC Upstate this week and Texas A&M another road trip.
Yeah, it's they're at a very critical point. There's no question about it. I mean, you gotta continue to win your midweek games, which they've done this year outside of the North Carolina game. You gotta nut up, man. You got to go to College Station this weekend, and you gotta play like there's nothing to lose and there's nothing to gain. You just go play baseball. Quit worrying about where you are and the expectations and all that stuff. I mean, there's nothing else you can do, Bill. I mean, you just have to go play the game that you've played your entire lives and go do it the best you can. And you don't think about the second inning and the first inning or the third inning and the second inning. You think about it pitch to pitch and what you're trying to achieve in that moment. And hopefully you look up at the end of the ball game and you're in the lead and you got a chance to shut it down and move on to the next day. I mean, this team's better than this. I'll continue to say that. I don't think they are what their record says that they are. But certainly one problem one day gets resolved and another one pops up, and it's like playing whack-a-mole with yourselves. So take the pressure off and just go out there and play the game and see what happens.
Jamie, we always appreciate it, buddy. A lot of good insight this morning, from the Final Four to the baseball, even a little golf discussion. Look forward to having you back next Monday to analyze what South Carolina baseball did, but also talk about the Masters and reanalyze a week from today, the national championship game.
Yeah, it's one of the great sports weeks of the year, everybody, so I hope everyone enjoys it.
We will. Have a great day, buddy. Hour 3 on the way. We'll get back into a few other things in Thorns, Buds, and Roses.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years they have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And it's that proven history, 30 years, that is the reason that you will have confidence and faith in them getting the job done. So don't hesitate. Don't wait another day. Give Mid-State Roofing a call, 803-356-1919. You can visit them on the web, midstateroofing.com. Whether you're here in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, Aiken, Augusta, wherever you might be in this great state, Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you with that maintenance contract. So when you give them a phone call, doesn't matter if it's 7:56 on a Monday morning or midnight tonight, you'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. So make that phone call today and line up that maintenance contract. 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
This report is sponsored by Carolina Conditions Home Services. Carolina Conditions Home Services specializes in generators, drains, and electric car chargers, making them your one-stop shop for all your comfort needs. Visit their website at carolinaconditions.com or call 803-233-7172 for expert service you can count on.
Sponsored by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. They run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Life matters. I hate to remind you, but tax day's coming up. Taxes are tough, but it's great to be an American, and the benefits of national security are worth the hassle of April 15th. Unhappy Jewish citizens asked Jesus if they should pay tax to Rome. Taking a coin in hand, Jesus noted the name and image of Caesar on the piece of money. So he said, "Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God." Jesus said, "Pay Caesar what belongs to him, but don't forget to give to God the thing which bears his image and name." It took a few minutes for some to catch on, but Jesus reminded them that we are made in God's image. His likeness and name is upon us. Therefore, just as we give to Caesar or Uncle Sam what belongs to them, we must remember that we belong to God. When you pay your taxes, don't forget to settle up with the one whose image is upon you. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Remember, life matters, and so do you.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
Broken down car. This is going to be 77 north at Shop Road, but the big problem still out on 26 inbound just past the Chapin exit. It's an overturned
Final hour of the Monday morning program. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain Dave Adair. Jen Jensen will be back later in the week. And again, a reminder, we are getting Masters Week going. We're going to start really today, but get going full effect on Wednesday when we will be over at Pro Swing on Forest Acres all day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It'll be Masters Week, of course. You can come play and hang out at Pro Swing this week, and you could even be going to the Masters for the final round on Sunday. They will give you some details on how you could do that. The winner will be announced on Friday evening, April the 11th at 5:30, right here live on 107.5 The Game. But we'll be out with our good friends over at Pro Swing coming up Wednesday and Thursday to hang out and get you ready for Augusta National. Preston Thorne, it's just one of those things where you get all these little things, and I think they all add up after this week to being like, all right, spring is officially here. Like you get the time change. That's the first one. We get the time change. I'm like, all right, there's a step towards spring. You get pollen. You're like, okay, there's a step towards spring.
Well, Bill, you're 0 for 2 right now. So,
what do you mean?
Well, you said time change and pollen. That's not a great advertisement for spring.
No, I'm not advocating that these are. I'm telling you what happens, and you're like, okay,
Gotcha.
Spring.
Gotcha.
Spring. Then you get the final. You get March Madness, and you get the Final Four.
Now we're warming up.
And then once I feel like we hit the Masters Week, you're like, all right, we've officially accomplished it for 2025. So that's what this weekend. But yeah, I'm not trying. And by the way, I do know that spring officially began back in March. So these are all the little things that lead us to being like, okay, it's officially here.
Yeah, it's just like the time change, so you can't sleep. Pollen, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Tornadoes, you're scared for your life. Spring's not having a great. That wasn't a great PR for spring.
Right. Well,
but March Madness and the Masters, and you bring it on. It comes along Easter, things get better.
I'm still of the age that I enjoy it, but I know some people out there. You're right. The time change throws them off. That's miserable. The pollen throws you off. That's miserable. I'm not trying to convince you spring is for everybody. All right, let's get into a little bit of Gamecock whip around. We've been talking a lot this morning about obviously the things that occurred over the weekend. We're going to do the Oreo sandwich portion here to start. So the bad, South Carolina women, we've talked about it this morning. They fall yesterday. They win Friday night and win rather convincingly, Preston. We focused a lot on yesterday's game, but Friday night, obviously, very good night for them. They played well, and they just kind of continue to show, much like Connecticut showed yesterday. Connecticut's the better team. We kind of showed that we were better than Texas.
Yeah, I got blinded by my own logic. My logic for us beating Texas was, we beat them by double digits. Duh. Somehow or another, I couldn't make that same logical conclusion with us in UConn, and it slapped me in the face.
Yeah, again, a very solid victory. Third one of the year. Crazy. The Gamecocks got 3-1 against Texas this year, but 74-57, they smack Texas around. But again, you asked the question in hour number one, when did you know on Sunday against Connecticut? When did you know that this probably ain't going to go our way? My answer was Friday night, right after, while everybody was celebrating. I was watching UConn just pile drive UCLA into the floor in Tampa, and I was like, they look mean and angry and really, really good. Yeah. And at that point, I went, I don't know if that was fluky what occurred at Colonial Life Arena in February.
Yeah, you was probably maybe trying to warn us, and we was too busy popping champagne.
I didn't want to be that guy. I tried to be on board as much as I could, but you could just see it coming down the pipe. And Connecticut rolls yesterday, 82-59. Gino Auriemma claims another championship for himself, becomes the oldest coach to win a national championship in basketball. And look, the bottom line, we've played some clips from Dawn, the better team, and the better team by a lot. And I don't mean score-wise. This wasn't like, well, if we play 10 times, we win 5 and they win 5. If they played 10 times, I think Connecticut wins 9. We might get 1.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's just that he built a really good team and they dominated. But again, kudos to the girls. And final thoughts on that. Again, I'm not trying to put them down, Preston. I'm trying to almost uplift them and say this is how good the program is. But the season, it becomes a disappointment, because that's how good they are. It's national championship or bust. All those great SEC accolades and winning the tournament again and tying for the regular season, it feels like that's old news, and it shouldn't be. But that's how good they've gotten. Is that
it is what it is. That's where we are as far as the expectations for the program are. If you was to ask folks up in stores at UConn what they thought of the last 9 years I'm sure they wouldn't say, "Oh man, it's been great. You know, we haven't won anything, but you know, Gino's out there competing, and we go to." No, that's not their expectations. Are championship levels, and so that's where our expectations are, whether it's fair or not.
And one thing that'll occur now is, how does Dawn Staley bounce back? Look, she went out after the Iowa loss, realized she needed some more shooters. That's the one thing about this year that I'm really shocked with. I thought this would be a better shooting team, and they weren't. And yesterday, 4 of 16, I think, from three-point range. Connecticut was 4 of 17. The one kind of surprise this year, South Carolina was not the shooting team that I thought they might have been. I'm not saying they were going to be the best in the country, but it's almost like Dawn reverted back to pound the ball down low. But when they lost Ashlyn Watkins and didn't have kind of the big girls down low that they'd had, the Camila Cardosos, the Aaliyah Bostons, the Asia Wilsons, the Elena Coates, it didn't formulate to a national championship like it has in the past.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that was the negative. All right, Oreo cookie. The positive. Softball, Ashley Chastain Woodard's ball club takes 2 of 3 over the weekend from 19th ranked Mississippi. Kudos to them. They continue to roll right along, Preston Thorne. They are in contention to be a top 8 seed and host all the way through.
And to your point about expectations, and you said this, and I'm crediting you with this, they should have taken 2 of 3.
Yeah.
Because they were the higher ranked team in this scenario, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, they handled business. So this is not a celebration. This is them handling the business that they were supposed to as the higher ranked team against a lower ranked team.
30-8 on the season now. They are 6-6 in conference. So they've bounced back from that opening weekend sweep to go 6-3 in the last 9 games. They will get Charleston Southern coming up Wednesday night over at Beckham Field, 6 p.m. first pitch if you want to go and check that out and support them. Again, that'll be Wednesday the 9th against Charleston Southern. But kudos to them over the weekend. 1-0 in extra innings on Friday night, a 2-1 loss on Saturday, but a 4-2 win yesterday.
Tight series.
For the series clinching victory, and they will travel to Fayetteville next weekend for a Friday-Saturday series against Arkansas. And then that brings us to baseball, which we've talked about this morning. They opened Friday night great. They opened Friday night fantastic. Looked like maybe this was the weekend. Friday night, I literally thought, hey, okay, this is kind of what I expected. They go out and they get the victory, and they take a 1-0 lead in that series in Starkville. They win 7-3. Saturday, they just give up way too many home runs, couldn't do anything, get mashed 11-4, and then yesterday just 2 hits, and they get beat 6-0 yesterday for the series loss.
Yeah, that series was huge because we effectively said we were looking at Mississippi State saying, you are just like us. We need to be able to beat this team to prove that we can beat teams that we're supposed to. And now I think we have more data, and we can probably form a conclusion on who this team is.
Yeah, they don't need to quit competing, and we're still going to talk about them some, but I hate to say it feels like that was the series that you could win, kind of turn your season around, get some momentum going. You got a game against USC Upstate this coming week. It felt like that was the time to get it done and to do it. They didn't do it, and now it's all fair game to question what they will do the remainder of the season. Like, the bottom could fall out. Do players start in the day and age of the transfer portal? Does Paul Maneri start looking around at guys and like playing younger guys, and then other guys transfer? And you know how this works, Preston.
Oh, we didn't need the transfer portal for teams to start looking around like, man, y'all want to do this anymore? This was way before the transfer portal when teams got to start figuring things out about themselves.
So they will be back on the diamond Tuesday night over at Founders Park, 6:30 first pitch against USC Upstate, and then a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series in College Station against Texas A&M, and Texas A&M is coming off of a Saturday sweep. They took 2 of 3 on the road against Tennessee, and maybe now to make ourselves feel better, we're like, Tennessee, we made Tennessee work really hard a few weeks ago, and Tennessee was just tired going into that Texas A&M series, but Texas A&M turning things around there. So there's a little bit of your Gamecock whip around and what we have been discussing this morning. Also, not involving the Gamecocks, but the Braves. Well, they won Friday night. Friday night was just glorious.
Do we have any stats on the 1-8 team?
I don't know. We'll have to look these up.
Stat boy, get on it.
Braves, and they win 10-0. Looks like, they're back home. It's the Marlins. and then they promptly lose Saturday 4-0. Yesterday's game postponed due to weather. That game is moved all the way to August 9th, a Saturday. It'll be a doubleheader there at Truist Park in Atlanta in August, and they get yesterday and today off, and they'll open a series against the Phillies tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, before traveling to Tampa this week. So not Gamecock related there, but yeah, the Braves. Boy, yeah, it was what it was. 803-404-6100. A couple of y'all weighing in this morning. Texter weighs in. I bet Preston is a no participation trophies kind of guy.
Yeah, Thorns coming up.
Bun weighs in. I asked him when he knew. He says 12-11. New game was over early. We weren't going to keep up with that scoring pace.
Good point. I mean, Powell came off the screen, hit a three, and was like, oh, we're good, but they kept scoring. And it was like, oh, this game's going to be fast and furious.
And, of course, we also have discussed the Final Four. We were talking about Duke. Mark weighed in, hated Duke for years. The ESPN 30 for 30, I hate Christian Laettner was spot on.
So Mark had a good weekend then.
Yeah, he felt better on Saturday night. So
yeah, I must admit, I felt the old hate feelings came up in me. I was trying to turn a new leaf.
He does say, but Duke finally has players that are likable. I guess talking about Cooper Flagg, yeah.
I kind of
feel better. They don't have the Bobby Hurleys and the Christian Laettners and the Grayson Allens
and
maybe
the Mike Krzyzewskis.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah, him, that guy. Even I saw him cheering in the stands. I was like, I don't know about this.
They'd have him, and then they cut to Jim Nance, and you're like, oh, Jim Nance. Boo, Mike Krzyzewski. Oh, Jim Nance.
Exactly.
803-404-6100. So just kind of a rundown of the things we have discussed this morning, a little bit of your Gamecock whip around as well. We come back. We will get some thorns, buds, and roses. What annoyed Preston from the weekend? What does he see blooming, and what made him happy and want to give out roses? We'll cover all of it. You're listening to The Early Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. All right, we are rolling right through the month of April. Can you believe it will be a full weekend starting tomorrow? And that means maybe things are taking place in your life that you're keeping an eye on, such as your home, moving, refinancing, all of those things that come along with purchasing a home. You might be looking at upgrading or downsizing. And the first phone call you need to make is to the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and see what options are available to you, what interest rates, what kind of payments are available, how much you might have to put on a down payment. These are the important questions when you go to purchase or you go to refinance. So call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005. Call him, see what options First Palmetto Bank has available to you, and see what kind of money you have available. 803-719-1005. Call Jacob Crowder, the Mortgage Guru, today. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
I'm Jason Reynolds. You may wonder if you're better off hiring a big corporate law firm with hundreds of lawyers, or should you go local?
I'm Stephen Samuels. With the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, you get me, or Jason, or Michael, or David. You have your own lawyer who can go toe-to-toe with anybody from big law to big insurance.
Here's how you know. Call 803-779-4000. You won't get a robot. You'll get Abby or Andrea or one of our other wonderful people taking your call. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Clark. Garnet Trust is hoping to build the best and most sustainable NIL program in the country. To find out how you can get involved, go on over to garnettrust.com. You can support Gamecock athletes there, get access to exclusive content, and help Garnet Trust build the best NIL program in the country.
what you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Act now for springtacular savings on the best selection of new Chevys. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
They're here. You can see them. Weeds. Hi, this is Paul Romenstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. It's not too late to get the beautiful lawn that you want. Sign up for our Midlands Green Treatment Program today and let our experts help you with fertilization, weed control, and everything it takes to get you a green, lush lawn. Are you ready? Give us a try at hateweeds.com. hateweeds.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, and because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
All right, a whole bunch of accidents now. We got 26 just after the Chapin exit there. That's still an overturned semi. It's over in the grassy area, but just down to one lane. Congress Road near Leesburg Road at Leesburg Court. Wreck there. Forest Drive at I-77. Hardscrabble North Brickyard. 20 West just after Two Notch Road. A wreck. Also another wreck at Longs Pond at Two Notch Road. Out on the Lexington side and 277 southbound just before Farrell Road. So that'll be heading in toward town. Captain Dave, Wetzel Automotive Traffic Center.
Gamecock, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
As we get up and jump around here on a Monday morning, fresh off of the Final Four National Championship game tonight. Preston in his feelings a little bit about Darlington this weekend, where Kyle Larson didn't finish dead last.
No, you're right, but I am conversely dead last now.
Denny Hamlin wins. I feel like that's even though I didn't pick him, the fact that Mr. Old Josh Harris took him.
So now do you go for, are you going to pick him this time? You go for 3 in a row?
Josh has got 29. I'm tied with him for the lead. Reggie will have 28. So I will pick 4th this week. I don't know if I'll get to. I wouldn't take him for 3 in a row. I wouldn't take him for 3 in a row, but I will collect my points on that and move forward there, because it looks, if I was looking at it correctly, Jen picked up 4 points to move to 25 points. I've got 29 points. Josh will have 29 points. Reggie will have 28, and you'll have 19.
It's getting dangerous.
Yeah, you are.
It's getting spooky.
You're on 3 wheels right now.
It's getting spooky.
You're pulling away from you. So Darlington this week, a lot of fun. Again, thank you to everybody for having us down there on Friday. That was an absolute blast being down there and hanging out and seeing everybody. And look forward to being back in August when we get ready for the Cookout 400 and the Labor Day race. 803-404-6100. All right. We forgot to tell Dave that we've got some music here for Preston on Thorns, Buds, and Roses as we kind of glance through it. So you might have to operate. Might be a different kind of Thorns, Buds, and Roses. No music today, but do you think you're ready?
You want me to sing Every Rose Has Its Thorn?
That's unique. That's unique. Clip that. We might use that at some point in the future. But no, we can go sans. This is an acapella version. You know, when you just pull out the guitar and everybody's like, oh, he's going to do this one acapella.
All right.
Bill, Thorns, Buds, Roses. Here you go. Thorns. Got to give a thorn to myself. Oh. I'm on my own nerves. I don't even like who I am as a fan because I am a spoiled brat just like everybody else in Columbia. I, too, am saddened and disappointed by the team losing 4 games this year and going to the national championship and playing what undeniably was a great season. Yes, I, too, am very unhappy with what's such a great season. I'm on my own nerves.
Okay.
Also, a thorn in my own side because I was blinded by bias. How could I not see this coming? They lost by 20 points earlier this season. And somehow, in my convoluted mind, I just like, oh, yeah, they'll get it. They'll get it together. That was a fluke, flash in the pan. No, Bill, it was real. And it came to be real again. And so 2 things that get to my nerves about sports fans is when they're spoiled brats, check, and when they can't see past their own biases, check. I did both of them. Committed 2 of my personal sins. I'm on my own nerves with the Thorns. Buds, Dawn will retool. We know this. You mentioned this. After the Iowa game, she went out and got some shooters because they needed to have some shooters. There's going to be some holes that they need to fill in this roster. Already heard whispers or read some things. She made it very clear that she was going to be active in the portal, going to find the ingredients that they need for this particular team because they have everything set, but there's going to be some things that need to be moved forward, mainly the development, in my opinion, of Tessa Johnson and Malaysia Fawali. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 women that I felt we needed to have play well. They did not, and I think the score indicated itself. So, Buds, there will be some things planning for them. And, Bill, I have to do it. Since we give out roses and somebody championships.
It's fair.
I'm going to give the roses to Gino Auriemma this weekend. 12 roses, a dozen championships. Gino did a great job, man. He has not won since 2016. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And you think about UConn, you always think about them being in the mix, and they have been. But that's a drought.
Yeah.
I don't expect us to go on this long of a drought. Do we foresee us not winning another championship in the next 9 years? That would be a long time. So I'm going to give roses to Gino also because Gino, though infamously known as being a very difficult coach, I watched the way his players talk about him. They revere him. They're always telling stories about how he's getting on them in practice and how he was so hard on them. But they always talk about him with a high level of praise. And I respect that out of a coach, especially somebody who is so difficult to be around as he was earlier in his year. But I will say this, Bill. Put Gino on retirement watch.
I wondered about this. We got a text in earlier that said maybe he retires. My feeling is he waits out Sarah Strong. If it came out in the next 2 weeks that he was like, now is the time, I wouldn't be shocked.
There was something about the interview similar to when we saw Saban last year. There was a different level of emotion that you don't normally see out of these dudes. They're usually stone-faced and on to the next one. Saw a little something out of Gino, and I would say much like maybe how the daycare broke Dawn last year. Yeah. I think Paige broke Gino.
Okay.
Right? She broke him in. She is obviously one of his favorites. She came along at the right time in his career. We've seen a kinder, gentler Gino. You put that together with his age, and he's had some health issues. The recipe seems right. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not a recipe warning. It's not a retirement warning. It's just retirement watch for Gino. All the things are there in place. It could happen. So, Bill, the thorns are for me, the buds are for Dawn, and the roses for Gino.
Okay.
Those are thorns, buds, and roses.
Very good. Yeah, the thorns. I was with you. I like that game here that Austin and I went to at Colonial Life Arena where Connecticut won by 29.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, all right, I don't know if this is going to play out well for us. And, they beat UCLA. They go through the championship. They go through the Final Four, winning by 34 over UCLA. And then, obviously, yesterday, beating us by 23. But that UCLA dismantling, it was sitting there. I was still wrapped in the warmth of all the wins, baseball winning, basketball winning, Braves winning, softball winning. But it's kind of one of those things that you saw the storm coming, and you're like,
it's like the horror movie. Everybody's like, "We made it," and Bill's like, "Hey guys, hey guys."
He's in the back seat.
He's right around the corner.
It was. So yesterday I tried to be positive on social media, did the church sermon, tried to be positive with some messages, but it was kind of like this could be ugly. The Buds. I'm interested to see what Dawn does. This team, this was a different team because you're right. They won. They did everything they typically do. They lost 4 games, all of them to teams that were in the Final Four, 2 of them on the road, 1 of them here badly, but they didn't lose. They didn't take steps back and lose to, say, LSU.
Right.
They still won, tied for the conference win. They still won the SEC tournament. But something never felt right. It didn't feel, maybe just because we've seen such dominance, and that's become our expectation level. I am really interested to see what she goes out and tries to find in the portal. She's got another really good recruiting class coming in. It'll be interesting on that. And then I'm with you on Gino. There is something, a grandfatherly state about him now that we've seen people try to change. I always go to the Randy Moss thing. Alex Rodriguez trying to change kind of as he gets older. Tiger Woods trying to change. But there's something grandfatherly about Gino. And I think also for him, you're right, that's a long time going without a championship. I could see him being like, I got back to the top. Paige Beckers is gone. I'm leaving it in literally strong hands. I think AZ Fudd has already said she's coming back for them, and Sarah Strong. They're going to be loaded again next year. And obviously, I think the schedule still sets up where we will go up there in February for the annual game against Connecticut. And by we, I mean the girls and not us, the radio station. But I could see him looking around being like, yeah, now's the time.
It's going to cross his mind. Whether he does it or not, who knows? But it has to cross his mind. And everybody deals with this because there's always going to be another player, and every coach gets into the idea like, man, you see Sarah Strong's right there. If we just get this, man, we could be right here. But at some point you think, maybe I've done everything. He's done everything he needs to do. And I think this one was personally and satisfying and gratifying for him. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. All of the ingredients line up that this could be the time.
I will just say this too, because a couple of y'all weighing in saying Sarah Strong, if he wonder if she would transfer to South Carolina. I wonder if he would get assurances from her like, hey, I'm retiring, but you're the face, you're the next young lady for this program. Will you guarantee me you're staying here to help whomever they promote? I'd be interested to see that.
I think that's a scenario that may or may not play out.
I don't know if that would. I'd be very intrigued if he went to her and was like, "Hey, I'm stepping away. I know you came to play for me, but I want you to stay and be a part of this and build it." Will, by the way, weighs in and says this is our last year playing Connecticut. We'll see if they put him on the schedule again. I don't know if that's something set in stone. I would imagine Dawn's going to want another match with them here next year. Good stuff there. All right, we'll come back. We'll look around at a few other things this morning. Get you ready for the men's Final Four tonight. And Houston beating up on Duke. You are listening to the early game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Pro Swing wants to send you to the Masters. Pro Swing is giving away 2 tickets to Sunday at the Masters, including access to the Map and Flag Hospitality Building. Enjoy an open bar, premier entrees, and a dedicated Masters Gear Pro Shop. No waiting in the normal on-course lines to get your swag. Here's how to enter. Just play a minimum of 2 hours at full price anytime from now until Friday, April 11th, 2025. Each 2-hour block played is an entry to win. Enroll in in our loyalty program to receive exclusive perks and your entry into the giveaway. Add the March to the Masters tournament to your Bay booking and get an additional entry. It's the perfect way to increase your chances and enjoy even more golf fun leading up to the tournament. Purchase a 2-hour gift card. Each one counts as another entry to win. The winner will be announced on Friday evening, April 11th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. live on 107.5 The Game.
Hey, y'all, this is Preston for Cato's Power Equipment. Cato's Power Equipment has been family-owned and serving the Midlands since 1983. That's over 40 years. And third-generation owner Ben Cato provides top-notch service, great deals, and the mom-and-pop values that you love. Ben is determined to raise the standard of sales, service, and retail. At Cato's, they are proud to offer a wide selection of new and pre-owned mowers, tractors, and more. So if you're ready to invest in something new, the friendly team is there to make the process easy, help you choose the right equipment, find financing options, and keep your gear running strong with expert service and parts. The crew might be young, but they have over 125 years of know-how in outdoor power equipment. So swing by Cato's Power Equipment today or call them at 803-254-3711. That's 803-254-3711.
Sponsored by Bet Online.
Bet Online is your #1 source for all your sports betting action. With their latest and largest selection of odds on all current sports, including the Derby and football futures, Bet Online has you covered. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Look, there's feelings and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's RAMP.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Imagine having your own health and wellness spa at home. I'm Jack Oliver. We can make that dream a reality. We offer hot spring spas exclusively, giving you soothing hydrotherapy, quality craftsmanship, and energy efficiency. Complete your home wellness haven with a finished sauna from Vallejo. Vallejo saunas are craftsman made and provide amazing health benefits, are easily installed, and are very affordable. Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, 3303 Forest Drive, and jackoliverpools.com.
Learning to drive, getting married, the birth of your children. These are the life-changing events you remember your whole life. I'm Jason Reynolds. A serious injury changes your life too, in a very different way.
I'm Stephen Samuels. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we get you. We can't erase the injury or change the past, but we can get you through the pain and anxiety and help you on to a brighter future.
We get South Carolina because we're true South Carolina. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
For pure safety and total clean, call Zerorez. Right now, get 3 rooms for the price of 2. That's 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, but only pay for 2. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to secure this deal today. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, 2-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to Colonial Life Arena April 26th and 27th. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Visit monsterjam.com today.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
All right, they have that semi-tractor trailer out on 26 inbound just past the Chapin exit. They have it up on all its wheels now. It's upright. but still there, so they're trying to pull it out of that kind of ditch there that it went into on the left-hand side of I-26. Still down to one lane right through there, and a backup going back for a couple of miles. But hopefully they'll have that cleared up soon, but it's going to be a mess. And that's why you have a slowdown there. Forest Drive near I-77, broken down the car. Also, hard scrabble at North Brickyard, a wreck. 20 west after 2 Notch, a wreck. Longs Pond at 2 Notch, a wreck there. 277 inbound Farrell Road, an accident there as well. Expect rain, thunderstorms today with a high of 75. Captain Dave, Wetzel Automotive Traffic Center.
What you're talking about, sponsored by Love Chevrolet on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
.36 here as we roll along on your Monday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain Dave Adair. He will be in, or we'll have someone in. We think Dave will be Dave, but have someone in throughout the week here as Jen will be back on Friday. They're seeing some family up north. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. We have talked, obviously, a lot about the women's Final Four game. Real quick, back to it. It brought up off-air, Preston and I were just kind of talking. We were talking about what this might do to Gino Auriemma and how he might view it. I would be interested to see. We know Dawn's a competitor. We kind of said, what does Dawn do? But what fire does this put back into Dawn? Not just to lose, but to be beat in the manner she was twice by Connecticut.
Yeah, it's obviously the competitive juices are going to be reignited. And because there's human nature. You can't compete at the same level when you're on top. It's a lot easier to chase than to be chased.
Right.
And so she's now back in a comfortable position of, I get to be the one who's chasing now. And I feel like that's something that she takes with her.
Here's the difference. The loss to Stanford 4 years ago. Okay. The loss to Stanford was a last-second tip-in. You kind of justify that and say, we're right there. The loss to Iowa, you kind of say, well, we got beat by a generational player. We've had that. Asia Wilson has done that. We got beat by, but we were right there, and Dawn could look and be like, I just got to retool one or two things. You got beat by a team. Like Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd, Paige Beckers. I know Beckers is leaving, but it was a significant beating to if we'd have just changed one or two things against Caitlin Clark, we'd have won that game. If we'd have just made one or two shots here or there against, I think it was Stanford, we'd have won that game. This is one that you're like, we're behind them.
Yeah.
Like they're ahead, way ahead of us. We got to make some significant changes. So you're right. That might reignite her fire of like, I got to get out and not that she didn't have it already, but you know how it is.
It's just different. It's harder. It's way harder to defend your title than to win the title. That's just what it is. And when you're trying to repeat, human nature is difficult to overcome. This has been through multitudes of sports history. So it's not as if they weren't trying or they weren't doing all that they can. But it's nice. It's kind of nice to be in a position of where, I'm chasing a goal now, because it just reignites her and the whole staff, and I'm sure things will be done accordingly.
And then also, I can't help but wonder, are we going to see less TikToks? We laughed in November when they lost to UCLA. We were like, Dawn loves this. Well, this might be where the daycare goes away, the boardroom comes back.
Listen, man, it's all on the table.
Well,
everything's on the table.
We'll continue to monitor that. Tonight, Florida and Houston. That's a storyline, but also the storyline is from Saturday night. And Preston, you talked about it, seeing the graph of Duke, 92% chance to win with, I think, a minute 22 or a minute 30, and that bottoming out and flipping when Houston makes two free throws. 62% shooter, I think, by the way, makes both 1-and-1s to give them the lead, and Duke just fell apart.
Yeah, it's a work of art. It's like a one long continuous clip of the last minute, and you just see it go from 92% down, and then all of a sudden it flips, and everybody on the floor is looking like, is this about to happen? Like, what is going on? And it happened.
Shocking. And, the fallout from that is that's the end of Cooper Flagg's career for Duke. And now when you go through stuff like this, like Duke does, and they'll be fine. Duke's got a great recruiting class coming in. But when you go through stuff like this, now you got to retool all over again.
Yes.
You don't have another Cooper Flagg coming in. You don't have some of the guys. I don't know who will leave and who will stay on that roster. They very well could lose several other guys, but that run is done. There's no rebuilding on it.
Yeah, and obviously Duke is going to get a high level recruits and all that. We get that, but I think Cooper Flagg was special.
I do too.
And I think that's going to be very difficult to replace.
I'll admit this with Cooper Flagg. Watching him, and I really tried to watch him more in the tournament to be able to say I watched him at Duke. He is kind of unassuming, and we got banged over the head again with the old Jake Bentley line of, he should be a senior in high school right now, right? Like they started hitting us with that more and more. But he's one of the better college players to come through, and I'm going to be actually fascinated to see where he gets stuck in the NBA and who he gets stuck with.
Congratulations. You're one of the greatest college players we've seen. Washington Wizards on deck.
I gotta look actually just real quick to see is it the Wizards? Are the Wizards?
Obviously they do the lottery, but you can rest assured that Washington is in the mix.
17-61. They're very much in the mix.
Coming live to a arena near you.
Utah Jazz are 16-63.
Okay.
So we stick him with the Wizards or we stick him with the Jazz?
Well, here's the thing.
Pelicans are also in there too.
The Jazz would be a way better situation because we've seen them have this success. Bill, we've never seen in our lifetime the Wizards have any amount of success. They have not ever been good.
And the Hornets are in there too. Hornets are 19-59 as well.
That'd be a disaster. I would stay as far away from LaMelo as possible.
I feel like with the Hornets and the Wizards, the NBA people are like, don't worry, we've got your reservations already lined up for your hotel room wherever we're doing the lottery draft, and we've got your spot at the table again. We know what you like to eat. Come on in. Tonight we will give our final thoughts on Houston and Florida. Look ahead, late night game. Does either of us make it to the end?
It would have to be very compelling early.
I don't even know if very compelling early is what gets me to the end. But we'll discuss that. 8:50 tip-off time tonight on CBS. We'll come back and we'll wrap things up here on your Monday morning. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Captain David Dare. It is the early game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
This is Boomer Esiason with the Sportsman Ed. When he was recruited by the University of Houston back in 2014, Kelvin Sampson had his mindset on becoming an NBA head coach after 6 seasons as an assistant in the league. Then his dad, Ned, told him, you can be a good coach in the NBA, but you can be the best in college basketball. Well, tonight, we will soon see. I'm Boomer Esiason.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bill Gunner for the Egton Law Firm. Tax season officially upon us, and if you've sent yours in, you might have received a mean, nasty notice from the IRS. You or your business, if you've received this, could be in trouble, and that means it's time to get a consultation, a free consultation with the Egton Law Firm. They have a local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good, but it requires you making the phone call, getting the consultation, and getting the job done. So give them a phone call today, 803-771-9800. Again, that's 803-771-9800. Give them a phone call. Get the free consultation. Time is of the essence, but you need to give the Egton Law Firm a call today. 803-771-9800. Speak with them. Figure out how they can get this issue resolved and help you out of your troubles. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Go the road less traveled. Unless the road more traveled would have actually gotten you there on time. Take the leap. Unless you're about to leap into a gator-infested lake, then do not leap. Don't even dip a toe. Anything is possible, like winning the lottery and not winning. And if that gets in the way of life's other possibilities, then it might be time to take a break. Because knowing your limits is an important part of becoming a better player and a better you. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
BOGO is back at iMart Express.
Come on. Okay.
Right now, for a limited time only, new customers can buy their first pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Plus, with eye exams available and same-day glasses, you'll never miss a moment. It's the kind of savings and service you can really get used to.
Come on. Okay.
Find a location near you at imartexpress.com to shop our BOGO event today and see everything we have in store for you. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
Wrapping up the show here on a Monday morning where we've had a lot of fun. Big thank you to Jamie Bradford for joining us as we have talked some baseball. We will continue to talk baseball, but yeah, Preston Thorne, I don't know where we go now. I think we know who this team is. I think a lot of people would say, well, I already knew who this team was, but unfortunately, I think this was kind of the telltale weekend because you can't look at Mississippi State and be like, oh, that's a top 10 team. They're just flat out better than us.
Yeah, we run out of times to say at least we ain't. We might be.
Yeah, we are. We are the ain't. I don't know, whatever.
The game becomes maybe we are, and maybe we are that bad. Maybe we are the team that they thought we were when they predicted us to finish 14th in SC. Maybe that's who it is.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
It was obviously a weekend that I circled. I know you agreed with me, and they don't get the job done. And now they got a Tuesday night game against USC Upstate. We'll have that for you. 6:15 pregame, 6:30 first pitch right here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. I mean, there's. You can't say anything else about it. They just have to win. They have to win their way back into the minds of the fan base. Paul Maneri's got to find a way to keep his guys engaged. Quite frankly, this is a South Carolina men's basketball situation where you've got a lot left to play and kind of go from there.
Yeah, this is where I think we learn about Paul Maneri. We learn about Monty Lee. We learn about the pitching coach. We learn about all of those guys. If they're going to be the staff moving forward, let's see how – we always talk about how players respond to adversity. Let's see how the coaching staff responds to this adversity. Let's see what they do and how they put this team in a position to fight and win through games because we can learn a lot about them in these times when it's not going well.
Yeah, and again, it'll be something we'll track at Texas A&M this coming weekend for them. 803-404-6100. We have, again, also talked about the women's game. We'll continue to harp on that a little bit this week, kind of see what the fallout is. I felt with the men's side, when their season was done, we were going to see things move quickly. We've kind of continued to see that. By the way, 2 more players go into the portal.
It's true.
Why is you going to have to buy a roster sheet next year when you go to Colonial Life Arena? Yeah, there's a lot of new names. Morris, Yugasuk, and Frederick. We don't even know.
We were just working on that. We were just getting there. We were just working on it.
Federico. The fact that he's transferring and they worked so hard to get him here. He doesn't play a singular minute, doesn't dribble the ball on the court in a game or take a shot. And anyway, he's out. So more spots available. Preston Thorne for the men's team.
January 24th, 2025. Federico joins Gamecocks.
Grand opening, grand closing. Quickly.
Just really quickly to follow up on the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards have not won 50 games in a season since 1978. So I just continuing that thread on what would be the worst possible destination. Yeah, not good.
Boy.
But listen, there's always hope.
Maybe they should just let them and the Hornets play for the top pick. One of you two got to win.
Somebody has to get this.
Yeah, you get a win and you get the top pick. You can't complain. Oh, oof, that's bad. Yeah. Anyway, so transfers out. So now we'll keep an eye more on the transfer portal, and that circles me back to the women's thing. I'll be interested to see how quickly Dawn Staley moves forward with this roster and the transfer portal and what she's got to do.
There will be movement. There will be movement because everybody is now reevaluating where they are in as far as basketball is concerned. So there might be major surprises, there might not, who knows, but there will be movement on the roster.
Okay, so we got all of that right there in front of us here. Also tonight, national championship game, 8:50 tip-off. Get a nap in. Houston has changed. When I started watching Kelvin Sampson in Houston, they played defense, but they were up and down and trying to score. Several years ago, when Houston really came to light, they were up and down and trying to score. Now they're defensive, and it can get ugly, and they're going to beat you up and bang you around. I'm torn on. I do think this has the potential to be an incredible game. Like, if you want a game that wraps up the season, unfortunately, yesterday's game, kind of a bad way to end it. You still, I think if you're just a fan of women's basketball, you would have liked to seen 82-80, 82-79. Someone, you don't get that. I think tonight, potentially, we get that.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see that because, like you said, Houston mucks the game up. I think you'll see a lot of game, bodies on the floor, loose balls, jump balls, things of that nature. They want to get the game pretty ugly, and that's the style that they've been playing. So we'll see if they can keep the game close because I don't think I'm stepping out and saying Florida is a better team.
I don't think so.
You don't think Florida's a better team?
I think these two teams are very even.
Really?
I think they're very even. We'll see if Walter can get the job done tonight for Florida. It would just for Florida to come out of the SEC and win the national championship when we've talked about Alabama and Auburn and Tennessee, that would really speak volumes to me about the job Todd Golden did. Comes in, this would be in his third year, he's got him in the national championship, and use the transfer portal in the manner you got to use it.
Yeah, you just got me on Walter. It's just clearly if I meet somebody named Walter, I don't expect them to be 24-year-old shooting guard.
He's getting the job done.
Are Walter's babies? Do they just come out as grown adults
with a beard?
There's never been a baby Walter.
No, they come out and instantly are driving a car. That game again, 8:50 tonight. We will we'll discuss a lot of it tomorrow and kind of see how it turns out, and then also get you set for the Masters. They are off and running down there. I'm keeping an eye on Twitter this morning for the Masters. Again, if you're heading down, they do have a weather bulletin that has just now been posted. The grounds are open, but it's calling for an 80% chance of rain and a few storms coming through here in about the next 25 minutes. Then it's got an 11 a.m. bulletin up that basically says 90% chance of rain, 1 p.m. 90% chance of rain, 3 p.m. 90% chance of rain. You get the point. Today will probably be a washout at the Masters, but should be a lot of fun this week. As we sit here and wrap up the program on Monday, I think I'm going to pull hard for Rory McIlroy to get the career Grand Slam and to win his first major since 2014.
And as you and Jamie stated, it's not the physical attributes. He has to just get his mind right and win.
He's got to go in and he's got to focus on himself. Obviously, we saw the incident a couple weeks ago. I forget was that the TPC or whatever, where he took the fan's phone. Like, just now, the Masters is a different environment. If you heckle there, You can, but yeah, they're a little more strict on how you act at the Masters. Next week at the Heritage, you can heckle them all you want.
If you heckle at the Masters, you'll be thrown out before you even knew
you can't get the sentence out.
Before the word even comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, they
like thought police.
Right.
If you think about heckling, you're out.
They're looking into your eyes. Your eyes do not suggest you're eating a sandwich. You might be on the verge of heckling. Go ahead and leave our grounds. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We laughed earlier about the Champions Dinner for Scotty Scheffler for tomorrow night. Might get back into that a little bit tomorrow. What would you have on your Champions Dinner? What would be your main course or your dessert? So, been a lot of fun, Preston.
Yes, sir.
Another week.
Appreciate it, Dave.
And things slowly start to die down now. We're through some basketball. Wrap it up tonight. Captain David Ayer, he'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow.
You want me to sing Every Rose Has Its Thorn again?
One more time. Hit us with the lyrics.
Every rose has its thorn.
That lets you know the show has come to a conclusion, folks. You have a good day.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market. It is Masters Week, and that means grilling out, doing some fancy cooking, getting ready for the weekend. And I know it's only Monday, and it's not even 9 a.m., but you need to go ahead and make that trip over to Old Timey Meat Market and start selecting maybe that great cut of steak, some delicious pork chops. Maybe you want to go with some grilled chicken this weekend, or maybe, just maybe, you want to create your own Masters dinner and go with a little redfish. Whatever it is you want, this much I can guarantee. One of the three locations, South Congaree, St. Andrews Road, or the Lexington store, Old Timey Meat Market is going to have it, and they're going to provide you with a great experience. That's the thing about about Old Timey Meat Market and the Masters. You get quality service. You get incredible people. You've got people who want to talk to you and explain the cuts of meat. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know your family. That's why I love visiting the Lexington store, Old Timey Meat Market, is because they know Ansley and Austin, and they know what they like. Stop by one of their three locations today, St. Andrews Road in Irmo, South Congaree, or Lexington, and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
This report is sponsored by Carolina Conditions Home Services. Carolina Conditions Home Services specializes in generators, drains, and electric car chargers, making them your one-stop shop for all your comfort